Salut și bine ați venit la o nouă ediție a emisiunii ZF IT Generation. Invitatul ediției de astăzi este Svilen Rangelov, cofondator și CEO al Dronamics, cu care vom vorbi, bineînțeles, în limba engleză. Hello, Svilen, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. We are watching Dronamics for some years now. Well, for at least 2 years. So we are also very happy that we get together today and discuss a little bit about your project and your future plans. So first of all, even though I think Dronamics is starting to be known on the Romanian market, let's start with a little bit of history. Who is Dronamics? When did you start this project, and what do you do?
Yeah, no, so my brother and I started the company almost 9 years ago. He's an aerospace engineer, and my background is in economics. And we embarked on a journey to create the world's best cargo drone, and it ended up being an airplane-sized an aircraft that can carry 350 kilograms at up to 2,500 kilometers with no persons on board. So it's been a long journey. We're a far cry from these two kids in a co-working space when we started the company in 2014.
Please share with us what's the current status of your project from the dream that you have. How far have you progressed until today?
It's been quite a journey. We're now more than 150 people from more than 12 countries. The majority of us are in Bulgaria. We just had our first flight of the full-scale airplane, and we're quite excited about that. Our flight test campaign will progress until the end of the year, after which we'll be able to start commercial operations actually in Greece first. And then we'll move to the rest of Europe.
Thank you for sharing this. And can you share with us how much did you invest in this project so far?
So far, the company has raised upwards of $40 million. We had a very successful campaign on SeedBlink, a big European crowdfunding platform that originated in Romania. We were actually the first Bulgarian company to do a campaign back in December of 2021. And we're excited to share that we're opening it up again for to allow investors to participate in in the future growth of the company.
Let's talk a little bit about the product and the service that you are preparing to offer on the market, and which are the customers you are looking for, and do you see a lot of expectation for your service to go live? Who are going to be your customers? Describe us a little bit the market and the need for the service you are and the product you're working on.
Sure. So when you look at the typical air cargo, you have very big and very expensive airplanes that fly between very big and very expensive airports. But then they get offloaded onto very big trucks, and those very big trucks are not who rings the doorbell of your home. They do an additional handover to a small delivery van, let's say a Dacia Logan, a Renault Kangoo, a Volkswagen Caddy. So we felt, okay, if you take the cockpit out of the aircraft and put it on the ground, you then can size the aircraft as much as you want. You can shrink it to any size. And we said, let's just pick the same size as the cargo capacity that you can fit in a small delivery van, like a Renault Kangoo, so that we can land on a very short runway, very close to the end customer, and then it can be picked up from one of these last mile guys and then can be delivered to a customer. So we're creating a new type of same day solution, allowing you to literally cover all of Europe in the same day for a handful of euros per kilo.
Can you discuss a little? Yeah, please go ahead.
So our typical customers include either forwarders or courier companies, as well as directly shippers. So, for example, companies in the fashion industry, in electronics, retailers, and so on.
Do you see interest on their side for your solution?
Absolutely, because what we allow is something they can't get anywhere else. Again, the typical coverage of a same day, the typical same day coverage is around 2 hours drive from the warehouse, right? That's Amazon standard. That's pretty much anyone, which means that the inventory already needs to be in your city for you to get it same day. With us, you can actually sell across Europe same day. From Romania, from Bulgaria, you can sell in Germany and have those German or French or Spanish customers receive it in the same day. So that's quite transformational. Nobody really offers that on the market right now.
Can we discuss a little bit the kind of infrastructure that you need in order to deliver the service? Because I'm wondering where are your drones going to take off, and where are they going to land, and what do you need in order to have the customers use them?
Sure, we are actually the size of a small two-seat aircraft, and just like them, we need a very short runway that even can be unpaved. So any small airfield, even like an agricultural one, we can take off and land at, and that's why, for example, if you take Bulgaria, you have one big air cargo gateway, and that's Sofia Airport. But Bulgaria has more than 100 airfields, and we can land on any one of them. And that means we can get to land much closer to the customer, especially in those tier 2, tier 3 cities and towns. So it's essentially a very minimal footprint. We need to have just a small, set of equipment, of cameras, antennas, ground control station. Essentially, it's very standardized. And then you can have your city, your town, your village can have one of our gateways and be connected to all the others.
I was wondering, in terms of regulation, if you have any challenges, or is there a need for an updated regulation in terms of what's happening at this point in EU in order to deliver your service?
Well, interestingly, the EU is actually a pioneer in terms of drone regulations. EU implemented them more than 2 years ago. Last year, we became the first company with a drone of our size to receive a license to operate our drone. So that's quite exciting. That's the reason why we'll be able to start commercial service, so much earlier than anyone else.
That's quite a surprise. EU is not usually at the forefront of these things. We usually look at what's happening in the US or other markets. In terms of product, in terms of the aircraft, is it a finished product? Are there any things that you still need to work on? What's the status of this?
We know that as new this technology is, we can always do better, and it is still the early days. So we are continuing to invest in continuing R&D so that we can have better versions down the line. But even the aircraft that we have now is quite amazing in terms of the performance that it can deliver, and it's essentially our first product. So that's what we'll launch commercial service with.
And let's discuss a little bit the business model. How are things going to happen? Are you going to sell the aircraft to the customers and they are going to be in charge of everything, or you are going to sell a service and you are going to operate yourselves? What's happening? What's the business model?
Very early days, back in 2014, the first customers we spoke to, they all were like, well, if my truck or my van breaks down, I can fix it in any village. But this is new technology. All I care about is the time of delivery and the cost of delivery. So very quickly, we realized we actually need to offer it as a service. And that's, again, another reason why it's good to keep close the R&D to operations. So the feedback loop, the iterative feedback loop, can be very, very short and quick. So the business model is just like another airline. We would set up routes on which we would sell capacity in the form of block space agreements or charters, and our customers book the full capacity, and then we carry their goods from one airfield to another.
What can you share at this point? How are the prices looking if compared to other transporting solutions?
Transport can vary a lot depending on the route. So this is not a solution for, let's say, Frankfurt to Heathrow, right? There's enough capacity on that city pair between those two big airports. But we're a wonderful solution for routes where you have very little or no capacity. And over there, we can actually compete quite successfully with sometimes even some of the ground transport. So, for example, on some of the routes, because there's typically less capacity going, you wouldn't be able to fill up a full truck and so on. So you either have to wait like days, or if you send it half empty, then you're penalized by quite a high cost. So we end up delivering cost savings on average of about 50%. But usually customers are really excited about our time saving, which can be as much as 80%. And of course, on the sustainability side, even though we use gasoline for our fuel because we use a certified aviation engine, because of our innovative airframe, we're actually able to deliver up to 60% savings in CO2 emissions compared to the existing modes. So that's quite exciting. And we also have partnerships with a couple of companies to deliver sustainable aviation fuel, biofuel, and hydrogen, so that we can offer the full scope of sustainable fuel solutions to our customers.
Let's discuss a little bit about the financing round that you are launching on SeedBlink. If you can provide the basic data, how much are you trying to raise, and discuss a little bit what are you planning to do with this money that you're raising.
Sure. So after we had the first flight, quite a few of our existing investors asked if they can increase their allocation. So we decided to open it up for everyone who was an existing investor, and that included SeedBlink, where in December 21 we raised, I believe, around 900,000. So it's essentially we're opening up the opportunity for them to increase their allocation if they so please. And this time we've, I believe it's up to 2 million that we've allowed to raise on the SeedBlink platform. So yeah, that's the rationale.
What are your prospects of growth? Why should anyone invest in your project? Where do you see your company going in the future?
Amazon delivers same day in the US, but only in a fraction of the US, and they still have to do it with more than 110 fulfillment centers. And again, their same day coverage is around 2 hours drive from each of those. Anyone who's not Amazon cannot offer same day on like an international basis unless they either invest the same type of capex in like multiple fulfillment centers, and very few companies even have the capital to compete on that, or they would have to fly. So this is clearly the future. Consumers keep demanding and expecting faster and faster deliveries, cheaper and cheaper deliveries. So there's only one way to deliver that, and it's not by ground, it's not by rail, it's not by sea, it's only by air. And we have several years of advantage compared to any of the other companies because we took a very realistic approach. We started with a fixed wing aircraft, not a vertical takeoff one, with an existing engine, not some electric or other new propulsion that's not yet certified. So we actually were able to get licensed before anyone else, to remain the only ones with a license. So we'll be able to commercialize years before the rest.
Svilen, thank you very much for sharing this with us. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm looking forward to see your company launching the service and also for an offline discussion with you. Thank you very much for the interview today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Vă mulțumim și dumneavoastră pentru că ne-ați urmărit. Aceasta a fost ediția de astăzi a The FIT Generation. La revedere!